Here's a new one. I had my mic muted. So we're going to start over. Hey, everybody, just want to say welcome. This is the logistics of the way things go. Welcome. Thank you for showing up. Everything you missed was basically me talking about tryouts. So let's just run through it real quick. You can read it on the screen. June 31st, 1st, and 2nd, we'll do training camp and tryouts for the older kids. Do want to pay attention that we're doing it at NOKC because we want to preserve the fields between Edmond Soccer Club and NOKC Soccer Club. June 3rd, we'll do the rain out. If we get rain, which I'm hoping we won't, we'll do the rain out on the morning of June 3rd. And then we're going to move on to ESC, which will do the younger kids U11 through U14, June 3rd. June 4th, June 5th for tryouts. Rain day is June 6th. And again, that'll be at Edmond. For the older kids, the time sessions will be 5:30 to 7 in the evening and 7:15 to 8:45. So make sure you check our website to make sure you know which time section you go into. And then for goalkeepers out there, make sure that you are paying attention that we will run goalkeeper sessions from the first 45 minutes of each session. So 5:30 to 6:15, then you'll go over and join the rest of the age group. And for the second session, 7:15 to 8, then you'll go join the rest of the age group. For the younger kids, we're going to hold camp, same time sessions on Friday night, the 5:30 and the 7:15. And then we'll do Saturday morning, 9 a.m. and 10:45 a.m. And then tryouts on Sunday will be at 1 and 2:45 in the afternoon. So throughout all that, when you guys come check in, make sure that you come a little bit early. Here's what I want you to think about. Check in at the concession. So if you're in OKC, it's at the center of the complex. At ESC, check in on the north concession. Try to come about 20, 30 minutes early because you want to make sure to spend some time in line. There's going to be a lot of kids there, guys. And you want to have time to make sure that you get your camp shirt and get a wristband to check in. And then go out and have fun. You're going to go, we'll tell you what your assigned field is at that time. Have fun, enjoy the camp, spend some time with the coaches. They're really pretty cool people. Then tryouts. On tryout day, you're going to go straight to the field that your age group is assigned to. You don't have to check in. You'll check in at the field table. There'll be a table at each field, just like the past few years. Again, have fun with it. Enjoy it. Enjoy your peers. Enjoy being out there and playing soccer with coaches. After the coach offers you a spot on the team, then come check out at the field table, mark what team you're on, and then stick around because the coach will likely have a team meeting afterwards. So you don't want to leave without that. Most importantly, when you check out, we're going to give you a sheet of paper. That sheet of paper is going to have instructions on how to register. Make sure you keep that sheet of paper, not only because it shows you the link to go to and the information that you need to have handy, but because of our wonderful sponsor provision concept. On the back of that sheet of paper is a coupon for a free appetizer. All you got to do is take that and wear an OEFC jersey or the OEFC training camp to any of their concepts, and you get a free appetizer. It's a pretty cool little deal there. So I eat at many of these locations often, and a free appetizer is always a good thing. So make sure you take advantage of that. Don't just throw that away. Keep that with you so you can get a free appetizer. When you get into registration, you're going to want to go to our website. Essentially, real quick walkthrough. Go to our website and you're going to see one of these boxes will say 2022 registration. We're working quickly to update that. As it'll pan you down to the middle of the website. There you'll see general membership, ECNL, and ECR registration, as well as the financial aid package. So it'll look like this, but it'll be for the 2022-23 year. So just click on that link and that'll take you to a registration page in Got Soccer. Couple of key things. If you have an existing Got Soccer account, use it. Don't create a new one. You don't need a new one. It only clouds what account you're using. You're going to have to populate everything all over. If you use the same one you've always had, it'll have a lot of the information already populated. So you'll go in. I'm going to say that my son Gavin turned back time and came back and was able to register. And it's closed. And that'll take you through the entire registration process. Remember that you'll need to upload a copy of your birth certificate if you haven't done so already. And you'll want to make sure to update your photo because sometimes those photos change. Sometimes you grow, you get long hair, and make sure it's a head, shoulders up photo, not something from an action shot, not something that the referee can't recognize it, because that photo is what gets stuck on your player pass. So make sure it's a clear head up photo that you upload there. And then you're off and running. You go pick the payment plan you want. And if you have any questions about the fees, go check out our website under player resources. There's the 2021-22 fees posted right now. We're updating it to 22-23. Most of the fees are pretty much the same, only some minor adjustments. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your coach or myself, and we can certainly help you there. Additionally, scholarships. So we have the fee waiver scholarship out there that you can apply for. Again, it's first come, first serve, and it's based off a need. So for players who qualify, make sure you fill out that information and mail it, snail mail, back to the address on the application. We also have the brand new OEFC community scholarships by our great sponsors and donors, U.S. Fleet Tracking, Provision Concepts, and Dix. There's a link on our website for you to go apply. Those are not necessarily need-based. We work with the sponsors to choose some worthy scholarship recipients to get those scholarships. The cool thing about it, it's up to $1,250 to be used towards OEFC expenses and fees. There's multiple scholarships available, and we'll announce it after tryouts during the off season. But they are limited, so make sure that you're making an application there. So don't forget about those elements. It's important, and you certainly want to make sure to check all those boxes. If you have any questions about tryouts, tryout camp, or training camp, or the scholarship fees, or the processes, or any of it, do not hesitate to email or reach out. Happy to help in any way we can. Do remember that if you have not registered for camp and do want to attend, registration closes Saturday night. So make sure you guys are registering now. So now all the boring stuff has been taken care of. Want to jump on over to the important stuff, which is Coach Tommy Riley. Tommy, are you out there?
I'm here. How are you, Bryce?
Doing great. Good. Except for what was it, the 3-minute silent monologue at the very beginning that nobody got to hear. This is why I don't do this as my real job. I haven't gotten called up to ESPN. I haven't gotten my own, TV show, and I haven't.
You do a tremendous job at Charger.
Charger Vision, I do pretty well, but that's because I have somebody else running the camera and the mics and everything for me. I'm a novice at this point, so.
Couple good co-hosts time though.
Yeah, exactly. So wanted to pick your brain a little bit. Thank you for coming on. But as a senior OEFC coach with OEFC, we're coming into tryouts. We're coming into training camp, and we always hear about the perspective of the parents. We always hear about the kids. I'd love to get the perspective of a coach. What do you see within training camp itself? The time spent with the kids, and then the tryout process, the tryout sessions. What advice can you give the kids?
I mean, clearly it's a stressful time of the year for not just kids, not just parents, but coaches as well. There's a perception out there that teams are picked way before tryouts happen, and I can honestly say from a coaching standpoint, that's not true. A lot of people will say, well, politics goes into it, and they pick this kid because of this kid. I can wholeheartedly tell you that that's not the case. All of our coaches, I believe, do their due diligence. There's probably a lot of different sessions going on right now of combined teams. I have some combined sessions with my 06s and 08s with other teams, whether it's the team below us or whether I'm taking or sending kids to the team above us, just so coaches can see that there is some change every couple of years, it seems like, which is a good thing, of coaches moving to different teams. And so those coaches have to get a look, and it's not just, show up the day of tryout and this is how it is. It's a process. And I think the camp is just one of the steps. Obviously, the training sessions is a key step, but the camp itself is one of those steps, not just for the kids, but for the coaches as well. Kids show up, they'll do a camp for 2 days with the age group coaches, and it has to be a fit for both. Kids have to be comfortable for the coach that they're going to potentially play for. So that means, if all of a sudden a kid off my Navy team gets selected for the second team, she has to be comfortable with that coach, and she has those 2 days to identify the coach, learn the coach, recognize who he or she is, kind of get a feel for how they coach over those 2 days. And come the tryout, we always say we're going to go there and we're going to pick that kid for our team. It goes both ways. Kids
Right.
can pick teams too, the kids can decide if they want to be on that team or not. And for some, we have many teams at different levels, whether that's ECNL, ECRL, USYS, we have FCL. So different leagues fit different kids, and it fits also different families. I know some kids, and maybe I'm wrong in saying this here, that maybe don't do ECNL and ECRL because of the travel demands on their family and the financial commitment that takes, as much as we do to financially help kids with scholarships and everything else. It may not fit, their lifestyle. They may have 3 or 4 kids that are also playing within the club or somewhere else. And so if that fits their family, it fits their family. So it goes both ways. From a coaching perspective, I feel like we try to do the best we can come tryouts and camp. Will we make mistakes? Yes, we absolutely will make mistakes. Maybe we missed someone. Maybe someone only came for that tryout and we didn't see enough of them. But I feel like the coaches in each age group have a good relationship that they can be honest and say, hey, if I'm the third team coach or the Navy coach and there's a kid below us and I miss them, and I get a phone call after about a month from the fourth team coach to say, hey, I think you missed this kid, you need to take a look, then we'll make those adjustments. I moved through various reasons with both of my teams. With the 06ers, I moved several up into the ECRL team with both teams. And it was a combination of things, injuries. Some people kind of moved out of state, and so numbers needed to be adjusted slightly, but also we missed some kids, and that was just development-wise. Kids are going to develop at different stages.
Right.
They may be nervous at the tryout. They may be nervous at the camp, and they may not put their best effort over the course of the 2 to 3 days, and that's okay, But I feel like we as a group of coaches can accept that, and can accept that sometimes we make mistakes, but we ask parents, we ask kids, be patient with us, and if we feel like we need to fix it, we'll fix it at some point. That's our job, and we all want the best kid on our team at that point. For me as a Navy coach, I'm trying to push kids to get into the ECRL team.
Right.
RL kids, that coach is trying to push them to ECNL, and so it's a process, and it's not done over 3 days. It's not political. It's not something that's predetermined. If a kid shows up from who we don't know, we'll make a judgment call on those days. Majority of our kids we've seen over the course of the year, and we're in constant communication with each other, age group coaches per se, to make sure that our kids are being looked at. And I think that's true for both sides. I've coached at the ECNL and the ECRL levels, and that's the same with the top team coach. They're having those conversations with other coaches and saying, hey, what's going on? Maybe you send 2 or 3 kids to my training session. For anyone in our age group, whether it's the Navy team, the white team, the black team, anyone in my age group should know at this point that my training sessions are pretty much open to anyone that wants to come. And I think that's pretty much across the board. There may be some days where you're like, we can't have them this week because we prepared them for the big game, or we're getting ready for the state tournament, or we're getting ready for a regional tournament, so maybe don't send them this week because we're working on certain things with certain players. But I think overall it's it's a really good group of coaches. The camp itself is good for both. Like I said, it goes both ways in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's kind of a little bit of the change overall for our club. Is it used to be like club class players and guest players were really just used when needed, right? They were, if somebody was sick or you're going to a tournament and a couple of kids can't travel. Now we're really seeing more of a shift of, hey, let's get a club pass player in there so we can see them. Not, let's see how they operate in a game situation, with this other group, or have them come to practice and spend some practices with us so they can get comfortable with our team, so that when we need them, they're ready and they can club pass with us. So I'm seeing a shift with the coach's mentality from a necessary use to a productive growth use of the club pass playing system.
Yeah, and that comes within the environment of the club as well. What's been established with the club as far as we as coaches. I mean, we get along. We understand. We have a vision for the club, and I think majority of people obviously have that same vision. And ultimately, what it boils down to, from my perspective, is we want what's best for the kids.
Right.
And that's the bottom line. And if a kid is not going to be successful at the next level, it may be a hard conversation that you have to have with a kid and a parent, but you have to be honest. And I think we do a good job of that generally. If someone comes up to ask me about their kid or their player, I feel like, any teams that I've been involved with, I don't really sugarcoat anything. I'm pretty honest. Whether that's to a fault, I don't know. But, you have a reputation as a coach that amongst coaches, if it's not a good one, it travels very far and wide. And so you have to be trusted. And if not trusted as a coach, within the community, then it may hinder some other kids in the future. So we can only be honest. We can only tell kids where we feel they are. And my opinion may be different to yours. And that's why we'll, bring someone else to have a look, or maybe send them to the training session of the next team up, and let those coaches make those decisions. When we have our camps, we'll split them up into groups and we'll rotate them around, and make sure that every coach gets to see every single player at that camp. It may be one day where it's in stations, it may be a second day where it's small-sided games into big-sided games, and then come the tryout, realistically, you're probably about 70% decided on your group. There may be 3 or 4 that you're kind of wavering on, and that is kind of the coach's decision at that point. Do we have our predetermined list before we go in there? No, not necessarily, but we have an idea. The camp certainly helps. The constant communication throughout the year certainly helps. New kids coming in, obviously, we'd recommend, or anyone new to the club that's interested, we really recommend them being at the camp, because we have to see them. Watching one kid for an hour and a half is very.
It's hard. Yep.
But especially if the kid's nervous, and most of those kids will be nervous the day of camp, the day of tryouts.
I'm nervous on the day of camp and tryouts, and I'm not even out there vying for a team.
Yeah, coaches are nervous. None of us want to see a kid disappointed. I mean, and that's the bottom line. And some kids have hopes of maybe moving forward, and unfortunately, it may not be that time. And we're the ones that generally have to give that bad news. But I think honest conversations are really the only way to go. And yeah, unfortunately, you're dealing with kids from the age of 11 through 18 and 19.
Right.
And
parents.
Yeah, I mean, 11-year-old's going to react a little differently to a 19-year-old. So
right.
It's how you handle that. And I think we try to do the best we can in those situations for everyone involved. I know all of our coaches, and I don't think they intentionally go out and say, well, I'm not taking that kid because of this parent. every coach wants their best team that they can possibly have. Tell me someone that doesn't, and I'd be absolutely shocked if that was true. Just because, like I said, I don't see political agendas. I'm taking this kid because they do this. We all want the best players, and that's the bottom.
And all the coaches have been working together. I mean, for now a month, 2 months on this. I mean, that's when camp starts, or we even start thinking about camps, when the coaches start collaborating and start talking and evaluating, and so it's not just that a coach is walking out in the camp field or even tryout field and has no plan. Just says, all right, I'm going to see who's out there and I'm ready to go. We worked together for quite some time.
I use myself as the example for last year. I was moved to 2 new age groups. Age groups that I didn't know. I was moved from the boys side to the girls side, and all of a sudden I have an 06 and an 08 group. And I'll be honest, I knew not very many of the kids, but I had the likes of Niall Bailey, Cal Ocott, Joe Beeler, those guys in there who have been around the age groups for several years, and those are the ones that are helping me select teams because they knew the age group, they were still in the age group, and so it's a new coach coming into a new age group for them. They have their opinions. They may recognize some kids, but like you said, the collaboration is going on. I was giving kids names and trying to run a couple of sessions last year with the new age groups, but I was in constant communication with Cal and Niall, Joe, and I still am to this day. I contact Joe because he's going to have the second group on the 06s. I talked to Tommy Hubbard. We had the sessions last night where he invited my girls to his session last night. I'm doing it tonight with 06s and 08s. So, it's been going on for a few weeks now. And so there will be very few surprises, if any. Obviously, if new players to the club come in, then they will be evaluated as quickly as possible. But there's very few surprises at this point because everyone's done what they needed to do to try to figure it out.
Well, buckle your seatbelt because we have a lot of new players coming into the club. You look at the camp registrations, and I pulled those numbers yesterday, and I was amazed at the number of kids who are moving in from other clubs or just moving into soccer. And so it's going to be a fun time. There's going to be a lot of kids out there. Some of the best numbers we've had.
Yeah, it's brilliant to see new faces. It's brilliant to see new families, and it shows as a collective group that we as a club what we're trying to do, and that's put the kid first, and what we're all trying to do at this point.
Yep. So I want to shift gears a little bit because we have a little bit of a unique insight with you. So you are a OEFC senior coach, of course. You're a high school coach, which I'm just going to say you're a 3-time state champion. You've been to the state finalist 3 times, I think now. I just happen to know that firsthand. And then you're a college coach as well. So, looking at it from each hat, put each hat on for a moment and say, okay, what is it in a soccer player that you're looking for at an OEFC level, right? What's the goal? What are you looking for at a high school level? And what's the goal? And then let's talk a little bit about what you're doing at a college level and how that pathway is built.
So from the club standpoint, depending on where you are as far as age, team, and everything else, I think at the young age, you really have to promote the development of kids. At whatever age you have, probably through 15. The development of the kid, not just on the field, away from the field, all those characteristics that make up a player to be successful. We're trying to, make them, I hate to use the word mature for a young kid, but responsibility. Responsibility to maybe go out and do some extra work, training twice a week or 3 times a week with your club team. You're probably not going to get much better. You can, but you need to be doing some work on your own. And so sometimes it's frustrating. Like, parents will come talk and say, hey, I feel like my kid is not doing this, this, and this. What's going on? And when you ask, well, Are they getting the ball out of the house? No. Well, that's stuff you need to work on. So the development aspect, you'll have kids that even show up to practice without a soccer ball, which is mind blowing because
you're there to play soccer.
You come to training. So it's obviously development at a young age from the club level, and as they begin to kind of shift into that high school age, from the girl side with the big schools, I mean, they're getting verbal commitments at a college level for, as early as ninth grade, and they're recruiting, kids that early. So, start as you're getting into those high school ages from a club standpoint. Is your team doing college showcases? Are you putting a decent resume together? Are you collecting video highlights? Where are you going? Are you playing on that team that you're playing on? Would you be better maybe moving down and getting more playing time? Or is it time for you to up to is it worth moving up and sitting on the bench? So those high school years start coming into play as far as your development at that age then goes into more of a tactical standpoint, because now you hope that technically you're good enough that you get to the high school standpoint that now you're working on the tactical side, and understanding shape and formations and runs. And someone tells you, hey, third man running, what does that mean? Or what's an overlap? What's a give and go? Some of those things, and the mentality of what are you doing when you arrive to the field? How's your warm-up
Good
look?
point.
Are you jacking around? Are you sitting around? Because the second you get to that field, if you've got a college coach there watching you, I mean, you better be on your best behavior. When you go 1-0 down, how do you react? Are you kicking people? Or do you pout? Are you, pulling your socks up and really in the trenches and trying to get your team back in the game? What's your reaction? All of those things from a psychological standpoint of how you react and what's going on. All of these things are being taken into account from the college perspective.
Right.
So from the club standpoint, I feel like we do a very good job of promoting our kids to colleges. I think once you get to those ages, I think that the club platform is a very good platform for kids to be recognized at the college level. We promote and do a really good job. But there also has to be some realism there with players as far as where could they actually go? What is a realistic goal for them? I tell girls or boys, and have in the past, by junior or senior, you've got to narrow your choices down to about 10 schools. And you have to be realistic in how many kids play your position. When you graduate, if you're a goalkeeper, I use Gavin as the example. If you're a goalkeeper and you graduate, and the school you go to, do they have 4 goalkeepers on their roster that are still going to get there? I mean, that's something you have to take into consideration, because technically when you get there could be 4 goalkeepers in front of you. And if 3 of them are freshmen, then, you got a long 4 years ahead of you. No college coach can guarantee that you're going to get playing time. It's not going to happen. You have that off season in the summer, and if someone's lazy and doesn't do the preseason and the off-season workouts, then you come in unfit and all those promises go out the window. So I feel like kind of being realistic from the club standpoint is good, and I feel like our coaches do a good job of promoting that. We've had some good college nights where some college coaches have come out and spoken to the groups as a whole. Obviously, our showcase that we just started this past year will kind of gather legs in the next few years, and I feel will be a good opportunity for our girls and boys to be recognized. From a high school standpoint, just playing high school soccer, so now the high school hat goes on.
Right.
It's fun. You're playing with your mates. You might play a different position to what you used to, because that's where you're going to be most successful for that high school team. A lot of our kids go big 6A schools to small 3A schools. I have Heritage Hall boys, and we have several club players on our team who could be as successful on a big 6A team as they are on a 3A team. But it's different because you're playing in front of your peers. The people you go to class with are up in the stands cheering you on, and there's a mentality shift from it for me, but a coaching standpoint, because having the OEFC hat as well, I understand the demands that some of these kids go through, and they're playing every weekend and training 3 times a week. So when I get them in January, yes, they're still playing, not as many games in the spring as they were in the fall, but the demands that they've had for the previous 6 months has been so high.
Right.
They still be practicing 3 days a week that I hear horror stories of, hey, we got these kids in high school and we've got 90 kids out here. So what we're going to do for the first month is we're just going to run the crap out of them. We're going to make
Right.
hey, because basically what they're doing is they're just trying to run people off at that point. You know, you got 75 kids, you've got a varsity, a JV, and a JV2, and between them you're carrying about 60 kids. And if you're lucky enough to have 3 different coaches, brilliant. But some schools that don't have those JV programs, I don't believe that we're trying to run kids off at a smaller level. You know, we had 20 kids that came out for us this year, which was a great number. But at the same time, it's a different mentality for me, because you have to take, I hate to say the competitive edge away, because that's not fully true, but there has to be a little bit more fun, a little bit more, I'm here because, you know, I'm a good soccer player, but I'm here to play for my school. You shift towards the school, and everything you do now is for that school. You know, in the past, we've had kids that have not played high school soccer for various reasons and for various leagues that were out there. And I felt back then it was a shame. And I think it's a shame that kids have opportunities to go play for their high school and they don't. They're missing out on a lot of memories, you know, that they can make with their friends. We were fortunate enough to make it to the final this year with Heritage Hall boys. And the memories those boys will have of the playoff run, you know, the game, playing at Taft Stadium with a good crowd.
Right.
Those memories of a lifetime that you just don't want to miss out on. And when you talk about soccer, you know, down the road, when you're a lot older, those are memories that will last. Some of my fondest memories as a coach have been high school soccer, you know, through what we've done. You've been down that road with us with some of the state titles we won. And even this year, our semi-final game at Victory Christian is one of the best games I've been involved in as a coach. And you have different players of different abilities, and it's a jigsaw puzzle. You know, you've got to put it together, and you've got to manage it, and you've got to manage injuries and, you know, eligibility issues.
Right.
And someone struggling in class, and they got to go have extra study hall after school, and they're missing practice for a few days. You know, you have to balance all those things. And I tell the high school boys, and it will kind of segue into the college side, is school is first and foremost. Right. That's it. School comes first, then your family, and then soccer. Now, so I wear the different hats in different areas. You know, a kid will come to me and say, hey, I have in high school, I have a club game. I'm not going to be able to make practice. We got to travel. Okay, that's fair. But no, there are consequences because of those actions.
Right.
You know, it may not start the next game, and that's just me.
That's
personally.
Learning moments, though.
Yeah, it's a teacher moment, and it's the same with the club, with the OEFC side of it. If someone comes to me and goes, "Hey, I have a team dinner tonight. I can't make practice. Got a big game going into the playoffs tomorrow, so we're having a team dinner tonight." Okay, that's fine, but no, there's a consequence to that action, and so be consistent with it. I think it keeps kids honest, you know, and like I said at the beginning, some of those are hard conversations that you have to have, but you have to have them. And then from the college standpoint, we're fortunate enough that they're opposite seasons, fall and spring, with high school. Obviously, club stuff goes all year round, but from the college standpoint, we focus a lot more more tactical than technical,
Right.
because we're hoping by the time they get to college, they're technically sound. For us and coaches within our club, I mean, I bet you could poll the majority of our population within our club and say how many college coaches do we have within our club, because we got many.
We got a lot.
And we have many that coach at every level, almost every level across the board in Oklahoma. So I feel like our kids should use those resources. They should reach out. I'm always available, to take an email or a phone call and try to help kids, because that's kind of what we're in it for. But from the college standpoint, what we said is send those emails, send those recruiting tapes, send the videos, go watch a game. One of the biggest things that irritates me, I'm at Rose State College, and we're a junior college, and we're a very good junior college. We just made it to the national tournament. Unfortunately, didn't get out of our group, but the team that we beat in group play, who advanced ahead of us by 1 goal, ended up winning the national tournament, and we're the only college to beat them. So it frustrates me when people will come to me and say, she can play at your level. My next question usually is, have you seen us play? No, but you're a junior college. Just because we're a junior college doesn't necessarily mean people who go there are bad players, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have bad grades.
Right.
Change with the ACT and SAT scores now to be able to get into NCAA schools. It's a little bit easier than what it was. So there may be some kids that's their outlet, but majority of kids, I signed a girl just recently. She has a 28 on her ACT. She's a 4.0. She'll be valedictorian of her school. And that's across the board. I just had 11 of 18 kids make academic All-American. 9 of those were 4.0 students, and several of those are now going on to 4-year schools. So for us at the college level, kind of advice to those older kids who are looking to go out there is go see those games, go watch them play. Do you fit into that coach's style of play? Are they a team that likes to play out of the back and play pretty soccer, or is it a team that lumps it forward into their forwards? That midfield players never see the ball, and if you're the midfield player, then is that a place that you should go to? Be realistic in where you feel you can play. Don't just say, hey, I'm gonna go to this school because that's where I've always wanted to go. I'm gonna go UNC. From the girls' side, North Carolina. I'm going UNC. Is that realistic? I mean, you should know by the time you're a freshman in high school if that's a realistic goal for you based on what you've done in your soccer career at that point. I'm not saying you can't develop into going to UNC those next 3 or 4 years, but recognize that those schools are already recruiting freshman kids and have people on their radar at that point. So be realistic in your goals. Talk to coaches, take visits. Grades are first and foremost.
Huge.
In college, you could be the greatest player in the world, but if your grades aren't good enough, a lot of people won't look at you because it's responsibility. And do you want to pull a kid in who might have you who has a 4.0, and is a very good player, and myself who's a 2.0, and we're similar in ability, going to go with a 4.0 kid all day for several reasons. One, you probably will get some academic aid on top of soccer aid, and so I cannot use as much as my money as I really have to get you than if I tried to get myself, because I'm any academic aid. So a lot of factors go into it. We want kids who are responsible, who, for us, from the Rose State perspective, our selling point is very, very simple. You'll come in and you'll probably start most of the time. We have 20 games a season, maybe more, and you will see a lot of playing time. Some of these bigger schools that you might go to, you might not see the field as a freshman. You might not see the field as a sophomore. Junior, senior may be realistic for you, but still remember, 2 years behind that, they're still recruiting players to come in. So go get the experience, and I'm selfishly plugging.
Hey, this is a free broadcast. You can plug whatever you want. If you make cookies and sell them, throw it out there. I mean, whatever you want to plug.
But yeah, we want kids that we know kids will come in and play for us and start immediately. And then 2 years down the road, we'll move them on and we'll help move them on to 4-year schools. More recently, just within the state, we've sent kids to UCO, we've sent kids to OCU. I think I've talked with every single coach within the state and within the region the last several years, and I've sent kids there. Dallas Baptist, Midwestern State, Texas A&M International. We sent some kids to Florida this past year. So understand, if that's what you want to do as a competitive person or as a competitive player, I think going somewhere and sitting on the bench becomes very frustrating.
True.
And then after a year, you begin to go, oh, do I really want to be here, or do I just want to go to school?
Right.
And if we back up and are more realistic as juniors and seniors in the high school and say, here's what you really should be looking at because you're going to be successful. And at the end of the day, if you're getting some of your school paid for,
even better.
If it helps pay for your education, because ultimately, we all know the percentage after college, specifically on the girls' side, to go play pro soccer is very low. Boys' side maybe a little bit higher just because there's more teams, more pro leagues opening up on the women's side. But, ultimately, you go into school to get a degree to then become an adult at some point, to get a job and to be, someone in society that can be productive and help along the way. So it's kind of the three hats.
Yep.
Kind of engage them all into and how they link up a little bit. But that's kind of how I see it from my perspective.
Perfect. And then I do want to spend a couple of minutes just talking about you. I mean, not everybody has the luxury of knowing you for the past 10, 15 years, whatever it's been. So, I mean, I think the most important thing is to let everybody know that you are an avid Manchester United fan.
Blasphemy.
I have to tell a story that I heard is poor Stefan DeLisi came to practice one time with a Manchester United soccer ball, and I don't know if he ever reclaimed it. There may be a knife stuck into it somewhere.
It's over.
It's so yeah, he lost that ball, but no, you're obviously an avid Liverpool fan, which I have to honestly say that my Liverpool fandom was born out of your fandom, and that I figured you probably knew what you were talking about when I got introduced to kind of EPL soccer, and as with my boys as well.
Yeah, well, it was rough back then too. We're talking 10, 15 years ago, and we weren't having the success that they currently get in the last 4 or 5 years on the club, and they were always just on that edge and won a couple of cup competitions,
right,
and Champions League, and so it's nice now. It's nice being a Liverpool fan.
You're living through the golden years, huh?
Yeah, and you you can go back and be the one, and I remember that too. You all became Liverpool fans and say, not just jumping on the bandwagon. Obviously, I grew up there. I'm from there. Most of my family was actually Evertonians.
Oh no!
Older brother who's a Liverpool fan, and being 4 years younger than him, and following him around as a kid and playing outside in the streets, and most of the neighborhood where I grew up were all Liverpool fans too. So grew up in obviously a good area to support a good team, and now the fruits of of success a blooming, and it's a good time to be a Liverpool fan right now.
It is. It is. Well, cool. Well, Tommy, thank you so much for spending time with us, giving your insight. I really enjoyed it. I think everybody probably really got some great information and just enjoyed it. You know, if anybody, people just love listening to your accent anyway. And so, guys, go find Tommy on the field, shake his hand, say hi when you're out there to him. But no, thank you for everything you do for the club and for the kids.
Good. Pleasure.
All right, folks, just wanted to remind you, hey, we're in 503C. We love your donations. Player scholarships is a big thing with me, and I'm trying to build player scholarships. So anywhere you guys can help, jump on our website and help out. Love your support. We appreciate your support. There's a lot of great things that we want to do. Do want to say thank you to all of our sponsors who have been consistent throughout the year. Provisions Concepts, OSO, Chad Hedenful, Squirtle TV, of course, Mercy Sports Medicine. They're out at all the ECNL events. They'll be out at training camp, so make sure you guys swing by and tell them thank you from there. U.S. Fleet Tracking. I'm going to try something really cool with them. We're going to see if we can attach one of their tracking devices to the trainer cart, and that way people can use their app to track the trainer cart on the complex and see where they are in case they're in need. And of course, thank you to Superior Construction Management for all your support and donations. Folks, really, thank you for all your support. Thank you for watching. Thank you for getting your kids involved. We look really forward to seeing everybody out at training camp and tryouts. Otherwise, guys, have a great day, and we'll see you on the pitch.